Our second story, a wide area surrounding Changi Airport will see a flurry of infrastructure projects designed to complement the new cross-island MRT line and serve Terminal 5. With us to discuss this today is Transport and Housing Editor Karamjit Kaur. Hi Karam.
Hi Kimberly.
So, the work here that's being done here, right, isn't just going to be in enhancing connectivity, right? There's also talk of this ecosystem. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so let's maybe start from the basic. So the Land Transport Authority announced yesterday that it was going to be embarking on this massive road and infrastructure project for the entire Changi area for two reasons. One is to complement the cross-island line, and the other is also to prepare for the future Terminal 5. So Terminal 5, of course, I think many people already know, it's this huge passenger terminal that's going to be ready around 2030. And so we've talked before about how there's going to be a need to improve accessibility to Terminal 5, because it's really going to be almost as big as Terminals 1, 2 and 3 put together. So we're looking at new roads that are going to be built, plans to widen existing roads, also to build, a 3-story transport corridor. Is the way that LTA described it. So, the tunnel, the MRT tunnel, underground, the road, and then the whole viaduct. And there's going to be a new road parallel to the East Coast Parkway, ECP. There's going to be a new road just specifically to get people connected to Terminal 5 itself. So you can kind of like move away, from the existing Airport Boulevard and the rest of the roads that currently lead to the, airport today.
Nice.
Yeah, and so it, as you said earlier, so this is not just about roads. It's also about building this ecosystem around the Changi region. And if you remember, a couple of months ago, the URA had unveiled the draft master plan 2019, and they had a lot of ideas and plans to transform the whole Changi region. And they're looking at building new cycling tracks, for example, so you could eventually theoretically cycle from Tampines to Terminal 5
if you wanted to.
Yeah. And so that's all part of the plan, and also the whole Changi East Terminal 5 project is not just about building a new terminal. So we're looking at, like I said earlier, work, live and play. So there are also plans to build residential, so units. We're not sure exactly how that's going to work out. And also there's the SUTD, the Singapore University of Design and Technology and Design nearby. So a lot of scope for Changi Airport to work with startups, with researchers, to really harness technology and see how that can then be applied to airport operations. So it's not just about roads and viaducts, as exciting as all those sound. It's about building this entire, almost like an airport city,
Right, like a biopolis.
Yeah, except that this is an aerotopolis, is what they call an airport city.
I see. Yeah. So the Changi Airport Terminal 5 actually has been in construction for years and in planning for decades before that, right? So we actually have a video about this process, so do have a look.
It may not look much right now with all the construction that is going on, but by early 2030s, it will be a mega terminal that will eventually double Changi Airport's capacity to 150 million passengers annually. Construction work started in 2015 to get the land ready for the terminal. T5 is being built in Changi East, which used to be separated from the existing airport terminals by Changi Coast Road that ran parallel to one of the airport's 2 runways. The expansion will see a new runway to cater to the projected increase in traffic.
And this video is part of a 3-part series about building Terminal 5, so if you'd like to see that info and also its 2 other counterparts, do head on to our website www.straitstimes.com/videos. And you mentioned in your article actually that Singapore's Terminal 5 is one of the most ambitious aviation projects. How so?
So, just given the sheer size, we just saw in the video, we're talking about 1,080 hectares of land. That's huge. It's like, like I said, almost as big in size as the entire airport today. So it's really building an entire Changi Airport all over again. So it's huge and it's significant because, aviation is such a critical part of Singapore's economy, directly accounts for about 3% of GDP, but beyond that, it's so critical for other sectors, whether it's tourism or, manufacturing, everything else, because if you can enhance connectivity to and through Singapore, that in itself is a very attractive factor when you want to attract businesses and companies to set up base here. And if you look at all the numbers, all the figures, all signs are pointing to the Asia Pacific continuing to grow really strongly. China and India, I mean, it's just growing phenomenally, and the demand for air travel in this part of the world is going to just keep growing. And so Changi is gearing up to expand capacity so that Singapore can cash in, so to speak, on this development, because capacity is a huge problem. Infrastructure constraints is a key problem for many airports in this region.
Right.
And Changi is ahead in terms of long-term planning, which is something that Singapore is very good at. So this really prepares not just Changi Airport, not just the aviation sector, but the entire Singapore economy for the next phase of the growth of the aviation industry.
But considering that this is such a big undertaking, like a huge project, right? Would there be people who are concerned about cost?
Yeah, so cost is something that has been talked about
as always.
Consistently, regularly. I've asked many people in many different ways. I've never been able to get anyone to tell me, even off the record, what the total cost of this is going to be. Closest I've ever come is tens of billions.
Okay.
And yes, it's a huge amount of money, and the government has said that everyone will have to chip in. So in July last year, there was an increase in airport departure fees for travellers. So that's kind of like travellers paying for their share, so to speak. Some increase in airline charges as well. The government, as far as we have reported, has committed about $9 billion so far for this Changi East project. Changi Airport Group has committed about $3.6 billion, and CAG has also said that they will be borrowing to co-pay their share. And I should say here that it's not just about building the terminal, because the normal person will think like, why do you need this much of money? So because it's a whole ecosystem, and we're talking about there'll be a need to link Terminal 5 to 1, 2 and 3. So we're talking about huge tunnels to transfer bags and to move people and planes and cargo. Massive tunneling works, massive drainage works, and all these MRT lines that are going to be crisscrossing. So that's why the amount that we're looking at is as huge as the project itself.